the front line through the battles and the pains, with a camera in the fray and the world on our screens. We're the voice of the silence, the witness of the scenes. Headlines flashing bright from the shadows, we arise with the truth in our hands under perilous skies. Every story told is a battle we fight. Through the darkness and the fear, we bring the light. In the chaos, in the flames, we'll stand tall, with the courage to reveal through the rise and the fall. From the embers of the war to the echoes of the call, we're the eyes of the world and we'll never stall. KLW, we're the warriors on the front lines. Through the blood and the fire, we'll define the times. In the heat of the battle, where the truth aligns, we're the voice of the war and the world will find. From the ruins and the wreckage, every story's told. Through the tears and the heartbreak, the bravery unfolds. In the darkest hours, when the world's torn apart, KLW brings the stories straight from the heart. With the cameras rolling through the wreckage and the pain, we capture the reality while the world remains. Every angle, every moment in the line of fire, we're the pulse of the battlefield, never to tire. KLW, we're the warriors on the front lines. Through the blood and the fire, we'll define the times. In the heat of the battle, where the truth aligns, we're the voice of the war and the world will find. KLW, we're the warriors on the front lines. Through the blood and the fire, we'll define the times. In the heat of the battle, where the truth aligns, we're the voice of the war and the world will find. Through the smoke and the ruins, we'll pierce the veil. With every breath we take and every tale, we're the heartbeat of the conflict in the shadowed frail. With KLW's vision, the truth won't fail. Stand firm, we're the beacon in the fray. Through the dust and the fury, we'll light the way. In the fight for the truth, where the heroes lay. KLW, the story's here to stay. KLW, we're the warriors on the front lines. Through the blood and the fire, we'll define the times. In the heat of the battle, where the truth aligns, we're the voice of the war and the world will find. So here's to the courage and the tales we unfold. In the heart of the conflict, our story's told. KLW, with the truth we hold. In the fire of the war, our legacy bold.
You can't handle the truth.
KLW World News coming to you live here this evening, and we are going green. This is the FlexMax 80 from Outback that is going to be taking this solar array just put on the roof of the studio and converting that into power to go into our battery bank, which will feed our inverter, which will keep KLW World News online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year without the grid. And it'll be powering the router that you see over here, everything in here. Now, we don't have enough solar on the roof to be able to power this server, the SIM server, and the air conditioner all at the same time. So right now we're just putting the KLW World News server on, and we'll have enough power to be able to run this KLW World News server and the air conditioner periodically off of the other array. It's two separate arrays that you see here. This is one array of Morpheus panels, and then this is the other array of sun power, which are basically X21 panels. So that's what's going on here. The first thing we're going to get into tonight is communism in America. That's right, it's alive and well. And sure enough, OMG, O'Keefe Media Group, oh my God, they caught this guy from the National.
I am on the community relations team, so like corporate social responsibility.
The director of community relations for the Washington Nationals of the MLB reveals unethical behavior within the management of the Washington baseball team, including religious discrimination against a starting pitcher.
One of our pitchers, dude, Trevor Williams, he is very Catholic. The Dodgers had a group out to the stadium who were drag queens who sometimes dressed up as nuns. He went on like a social media, like, this is wrong, this is my religion, you all are mocking it. Because of that, we don't use him on social. Like, when they're like, is a hot dog a sandwich? And like the players come up, you know what I mean? Like, we don't ask him.
Potentially a violation of Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Sean then also reveals the Nationals Park is executing a surveillance strategy on Washington Nationals fans.
If you ever come to a Nats game, there is someone on our team who is responsible for figuring out everything about you. We're getting the plethora of your Google history.
And claiming they're, quote, using baseball to make money by selling out to Palantir-like defense contractors.
We're trying to use baseball to make money. And a lot of that is like defense contractors, the Palantirs of the world.
Then he goes on to claim that some corporate meetings are segregated as women only or gay only.
They would be well within their rights to say if you don't identify as a member of the LGBTQIA plus population, you shouldn't be at this specific meeting. There are some spaces that should only be for those people.
And even discloses that he has a secret agenda to promote communism to Nationals fans.
There is a join the Communist Party poster up in my kitchen. I would love to find ways to... Every home run is a $100 donation. That's communism, you know what I mean? That's redistributing someone's wealth. And a lot of people will tell you when I come to a baseball game, I don't want to think about that shit. If you're a sports fan and we piss you off, where else are you going to go? Either way, I don't give a shit. I am on the community relations team, so like corporate social responsibility. And my job is to help our 9 silly men wearing the same costumes score at least one more run than the other 9 silly men wearing costumes of their own. So the best thing I can do for the organization is drive revenue, right? Like make money, like any other, like we're a private organization who wants to make money.
Sean Hudson is the director of community relations for the Washington Nationals and has been there since 2023. He wastes no time mocking the team that pays his bills, describing it as, quote, 9 silly men wearing costumes, and acknowledges that all he cares about is making money. Almost immediately, the community relations director reveals that the Washington Nationals will intentionally leave star pitcher Trevor Williams out of any and all social media promotion. The Nationals apparently keep the spotlight off of Trevor due to his Catholic beliefs and as retaliation for his disapproval of the infamous drag queen debacle with the LA Dodgers.
It's a blatant anti-Catholic message that they're sending, regardless of how much, quote unquote, good they've been doing in their community. But when I saw how deeply offensive it was, doing awful things to the cross, doing awful things about Stations of the Cross, like it became a point where these negatives are not, they shouldn't be honored, and they shouldn't mock a certain group.
Do you guys have to kind of like squelch or like calm down really like conservative players?
So it's interesting. One of our pitchers, dude, Trevor Williams, he is very Catholic. He has like, I'm not religious at all. He's super Christian Catholic. All these tattoos that mean a lot. Last year, I don't understand the full scope. The Dodgers had a group out to the stadium who were drag queens who sometimes dressed up as nuns. He went on like a social media, like, this is wrong, this is my religion, you all are mocking it. So we don't use him on, because of that, we don't use him on social. When they're like, is a hot dog a sandwich? And like the players come up, you know what I mean? Like we don't ask him.
This is a potential violation of Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, which states, "It shall be unlawful for an employer to limit, segregate, or classify his employees in any way which would deprive or tend to deprive any individual of employment, opportunities, or otherwise adversely affect his status as an employee because of such individual's race, color, religion, sex, or national origin." Not only does Sean Hudson take pride in discriminating against his Catholic players, he's also very proud that he uses his position to inject communist ideals into the promotion of Nationals games. Hudson boasts about having communist propaganda posters, discussing how far left he is with his coworkers and supervisors, pushing for redistribution of wealth, and describes his influence as a, quote, opportunity to be the voice of reason. The director even acknowledges that when people come to a Nationals game, they, quote, don't want to think about that shit. But if we piss you off, where else are you going to go? I don't give a shit.
I always like just cards on the table. Would define myself as very far left leaning. There is a join the Communist Party poster up in my kitchen. When we go to like my boss's holiday party, we all talk about how left leaning we are. I would love to find ways to. Every home run is $100 donation. That's communism. You know what I mean? That's redistributing someone's wealth. So. I hope we get there. But what a cool opportunity for us to also be a little bit of like the voice of reason. And a lot of people will tell you when I come to a baseball game, I don't want to think about that shit. If you're a sports fan and we piss you off, where else are you going to go? You going to drive past us from Virginia to go to Baltimore? Either way, I don't give a shit.
Sean Hudson also claims that the Nationals have people on their team tasked with tracking every visitor of Nationals Park and figuring out everything about fans, your purchasing habits, your Google history, everything. This seems like a highly intrusive measure to impose on fans simply because they wanted to attend a Nationals baseball game. Instead of enjoying a beer or hot dog, you walk right into a communist surveillance stadium.
If you ever come to a Nats game, there is someone on our team who is responsible for figuring out everything about you, given your purchasing habits, what teams you come to when the Nats play, like what teams you come, and assigning you into a bucket of people and then catering content to you. So we're tracking it. If you're accepting cookies, we're getting a plethora of your Google history. So yeah, it's fascinating.
So if you've downloaded any MLB or Nats Park apps to your phone or joined their stadium Wi-Fi, make sure to disable those cookies so that Sean Hudson and his crew can't go sifting through your Google history and spying on you while you're at their games. Sean Hudson's commitment to communist ideals goes even deeper as he reveals that he supports segregated meetings amongst Washington National employees. Quote, if you don't identify as LGBTQIA+, you shouldn't be at this meeting.
I just had a really interesting conversation with our vice president of HR. Do we need Jorge from purchasing in the women's ERG? If he needs to, if he's like, I deserve to be here, then he's not really an ally. And there are some spaces that should only be for those people. The Pride ERG, sexuality is so fluid, you know what I mean? Gender's fluid as well. Sexual orientation is so fluid that, like, I think, though, they would be well within their rights to say if you don't identify as a member of the LGBTQIA+ population, you shouldn't be at this specific meeting. We should create a space where they can truly do whatever they want.
Ironically, while Sean is actively advocating for straight white men to be excluded from meetings, he claims that as a straight white man, he is never profiled, even while actively describing a system of employee resource groups that profile straight white men as unworthy of certain meetings and interactions.
Because I'm a white straight man. I won the lottery. I have no idea what it's like to be profiled. I literally have been profiled one time. And it was devastating for me, and it wasn't even that bad.
Sean's obsession with racial division doesn't stop here. It seems to consume his mentality. We found that he does a podcast called Not the Expert, and his most recent episode is titled Being White and Working at a Historically Black College.
I'm not the expert. You can call me Hudson. I'm joined by Kim Furco. Kim, you are the expert when it comes to working at a historically black college, but wait, stop, don't. You're white. So you are the face of the university. You are white. It is a historically black college. That is ironic, right?
You know, heritage nights. We do Korean heritage, Singaporean heritage, Japanese heritage. We only do a black Juneteenth game. So So we don't do Ghanaian heritage, South African heritage, Ivory Coast heritage, you know? It's like interesting.
Sean then discusses a debate that the Nationals leadership had around selling a Captain America bobblehead for their July 10th game against the Yankees. Should they go with the white Chris Evans version or the black Anthony Mackie version? The community relations director states, quote, "We landed on making him black because we wanted to pimp up the new Captain America movie."
The big debate we just had was we're doing around the 4th of July, Captain America bobblehead. There's a newer one coming out. Anthony Mackie is the main character. He's black. Most people know Chris Evans, Captain America, white guy. So our debate was, do we make Captain America white or black for this bobblehead? Truly, we had meetings about it, and we landed on making black because we want to pimp up the new movie.
But beneath all of this righteous posturing, Sean's primary hope remains the same. Quote, "To make money."
But once again, we hope that fans will buy a ticket, get a bobblehead, and we make money. You know what I mean? That is the hope.
And speaking of making money, Sean Hudson also discloses that the Washington Nationals will often have Secretary of War Pete Hegseth at Nationals Park, and they will intentionally introduce him to execs from Boeing to pitch defense contracts to him. And if the contract goes through, the Nationals will get a major kickback for facilitating the meeting. Quote, "We're trying to use baseball to make money, and a lot of that is defense contractors, the Palantirs of the world."
Baseball, more than any other sport, has the most Republican players. A lot of white guys, a lot of guys from the South. Every year we host the congressional baseball game, Republicans versus Democrats. The Republicans win by a bajillion runs every year. We're trying to use baseball to make money. And a lot of that is defense contractors, the Palantirs of the world. And we're essentially trying to be look at all the Americana hoorah stuff you can do at Nats Park. Give us $2 million. I, far too much for my liking, have met Pete Hegseth. I know.
Really?
He comes to Nats Park. If we can get him to meet the CEO of Boeing, and then in the back of Pete's brain, oh, Boeing, they make good stuff. We're going to pick them for a government contract. They then pay us. So I've met Pete 3 times. Unimpressive each time.
Sean holds such a resentment toward not only Pete Hegseth, but also the Washington Nationals conservative players that when the players tell the community relations director that they'd like to meet Pete Hegseth while he's at the park, Sean will just lie to the Nationals players and tell them, Hegseth's already left. Sorry, guys.
As much of a hater as I am, I was just this guy, if I didn't know who he was, I'd be this guy has no juice. I'm not saying he should rizz me up, but he had no charisma. We had Pete Hegseth at Space Force Day last year, and Pete was there, and a few players texted me, and they were like, is he going to be here after the game? I want to say hi. And I'm like, oh, no, he left. He's gone. No, sorry.
The director for the Nationals also admits that the majority of the team's actions are influenced by a desire to pander to the current president. Under Trump, they promote the hurrah America mentality. Quote, "If we elected Zohran Mamdani as president, we would skirt the opposite direction. My moral compass is challenged. Damn, it would be nice to just go work for the Boston Red Sox."
So if we piss off Trump too much, he could slash the sports and entertainment budget for DC. And then maybe there's a critical safety enhancement that we want to make to the ballpark using facial recognition to detect people who are on the no-fly list. Maybe those are people we want to avoid coming to the ballpark and we won't have the money to do it, and something bad happens. If we elected, Zohran Mamdani as the next president, we would skirt in the opposite direction. My moral compass is really challenged. And damn, it would be nice to just go work for the fucking Boston Red Sox.
Watching sports is supposed to be a form of escapism from the currently charged political climate. But when those in charge of community relations are so determined to inject their divisive politics into everything, push communist ideals on the fans, perform surveillance of your phones, segregate internal meetings based on gender and sexuality, and discriminate against Nationals players based on their religion, a great American pastime like watching baseball suddenly becomes a battleground, a game of tug-of-war for influence over your political perspective. And as these insidious motivations permeate more and more aspects of society and entertainment, true escapism will eventually be impossible. And this is exactly what the communist propagandists aspire for. Constant manipulation everywhere you look, everywhere you go for entertainment. They want you to always be reminded what you should think. And that is about as American as dog meat dumplings. If you're on the inside...
Now, folks, there's a lot of this stuff going on, and he actually talked about if Mamdani could be elected to the president of the United States. Can you imagine the United States under this madman?
We will replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism.
The warmth of collectivism. That sounds so nice. New York City's new socialist mayor pushes that, as do other socialists.
All of our lives have been made possible by our shared contract and bond to one another.
Our shared bond. And
it is the people who should share in the prosperity.
But prosperity comes from capitalism. It's the only thing that works. Yet many people say capitalism is over.
Capitalism is empty.
It's very clear that capitalism is losing any and all sway with the people.
A capitalistic society is a failed society.
Something better will come.
The model for something better is the commune.
So sick of this modern life. Let's live on a commune.
A commune, the socialist system that replaces the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism. People share rather than greedily chasing money.
Banding together, buying land, and creating a communal living space.
Where is my commune?
Good question. Where are the communes? They're hard to find because although people keep trying to create that
utopian socialist society,
these attempts keep failing. One of the first big ones in America was New Harmony, Indiana. Private property was banned. Residents shared everything. And the result?
After 2 years, most of the residents had left, and the social experiment of New Harmony was done.
New Harmony's now a tourist attraction, celebrating the magic of a commune.
It just has some magic here. Once you're here, you feel it, and you want more of it.
But New Harmony exists now only because this woman's father started
the great new Humble Oil and Refining Company,
which then became ExxonMobil. His daughter then spent his wealth revitalizing this town. The magic here came from capitalism.
We really started building a town from scratch.
When I was young, hippie communes were popular. The Farm was a commune in Tennessee where people shared everything.
Mothers would nurse each other's babies. Other parents would take care of you. They kind of became your family.
The commune forbade members to have their own money or property.
If you want to become a member of the community, you got to put everything you have in the pot, and we're doing this for a lifetime.
But they couldn't do it for a lifetime, or even a dozen years. The commune bookkeeper says there just wasn't enough money.
Everybody was saying there's not enough. You know, there's not enough food, there's not enough vegetables, there's not enough diapers, there's not enough shoes. It was all things that the children needed.
What they really needed, it turns out, was capitalism and private property. Only after they let members own things and keep profit from their labor was the community able to continue.
So what is it like here now?
We're not like socialists anymore. We have our own money and we pay dues.
In Israel, thousands tried farming in communes called kibbutzim,
where the ideals of a socialistic society are practiced. Shared ownership and absolute equality have created a new man, the kibbutznik.
Some Americans falsely think kibbutzim succeeded. But communes in Israel, despite getting heavy taxpayer subsidies, also failed. Why?
In the kibbutz, you were totally equal. Everybody did the same jobs. Your kids weren't even yours because all the kids were raised together. You didn't have a kitchen in your home because the cooking was all done together. These were real wonderful. These were disasters. People envied one another, resented one another, hated one another, and treated one another really, really bad. And it's obvious why. Some people worked hard. Other people didn't. And yet they had exactly the same.
So the surviving few turned to capitalism.
Meaning the kibbutz was now privately owned by its members, who could earn salaries and own their own property.
In America, too, communes that continued survived only because they turned to capitalism. The Oneida community in New York was founded as a free-love socialist commune.
Every man in the community was considered effectively married to every woman. Property was held in common.
But that turned out to be hard to sustain. Oneida survives today only because they dropped socialism and became capitalists, selling expensive silverware.
generating significant income that supported the commune.
The same thing happened to Amana colonies, an Iowa commune that abandoned socialism to sell appliances.
It was a Mana Society, then it went to a Mana Company, then it was the Maytag Company.
It was a big change in terms of getting rid of that communal system.
People keep trying communes, and they keep failing. But the socialists never admit it. They never say, well, this doesn't work.
Socialists never admit it because to them it's a moral ideal, moral striving for the good. Even though it's a complete disaster and a complete failure everywhere and anywhere it is tried.
Everywhere and anywhere. My new mayor promises to replace individualism with the warmth of collectivism. But that won't work. No matter what he and other politicians, pundits, or people on TikTok say, the only thing that creates actual prosperity is private property and capitalism.
And that's a fact, folks. That is a fact. Now, the crazy part about our future is, well, the world wants to trust AI. But can you? There are 2 D's in the word Google. Yeah, courtesy of Gemini. Great leaders. Speaking of great leaders, well, this would probably be a good one. No other than Tony Robbins.
What would happen if you become a prime minister tomorrow? What would you change?
I would stop Islam. I'd end foreign funding in this country. All the migrants would be taken out of the hotels and sent back tomorrow by the military. I would reverse. I would have remigration. It's time for many Muslims to leave this country if they're not going to integrate or assimilate. It's time to go home. You've got your homes to go to. This is our home. We've got nowhere to go to. We're not allowing it to change any longer. You've seen today, people are fed up, man. People are fed up.
Fed up. National sovereignty, safety and security.
Yeah, we're fed up.
And national identity. What would happen if you become a prime minister tomorrow? What would you change?
I would stop Islam. I'd end foreign funding in this country. All the migrants would be taken out of the hotels and sent back tomorrow by the military. I would reverse.
All right, sorry guys, we're working in the studio here.
Breaking news, we can now confirm that the U.S. and Iranian negotiators have reached an agreement on a 60-day memorandum of understanding to extend the ceasefire and launch larger negotiations on Iran's nuclear program. This is significant. Sources are telling us that it is now awaiting Trump's final approval, and the signing of this agreement would be the most significant breakthrough since the war started. But a final agreement that addresses Trump's nuclear demands would still require further talks. So this is a memorandum of understanding. It's significant. Breaking news, we can now confirm that
Yeah, they can now confirm that. Okay, so let's see, this is the right button. So there is a lot going on. The Russians have hit Romania. And, well, not only have they hit Romania, this is how they discipline their own troops. Gotta love it, folks. That's Russian discipline at its best. This is Ukrainians dealing with Russians at their best. This is a collection of Ghost Fleet ships that were hit while transferring oil from one ghost ship to another. Highly illegal, and, well, the Ukrainians hit them. The Russians have been hitting Ukraine hard yesterday, today, and the day before, actually for the last several days. But this evening, Russia hit Romania. It hit an apartment building. Now, there was also an explosion, gas explosion in Dallas, Texas today, and it pretty much leveled the building. We know of at least one person was injured. We thought about responding to this and bringing it to you live, but we figured by the time we got there, they would have it out. And sure enough, the Dallas Fire Department had extinguished this fire in a short period of time. Now, we're pretty concerned about the Russians hitting in Romania this evening. We're going to see how that goes. But the Russians have been hit as well. Here's a prime example. This is their resupply route into Crimea. And they're turning trucks around regularly because these routes are being shut down. So speaking of being shut down, I want to finish getting this solar hooked up here in the studio. I've got to do a stream tonight on Rumble, so we're going to finish hooking this up so we can go green, run this server and the nice little router here, and run all the lights here so that even if the power is out, we still have internet, we still got Starlink in the Intimidator, and we can still stay up for you guys. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you later tonight on Rumble as we finish out the sentence that we have to do each month by streaming so many hours on their studio. If you're not a member of KLW World News, go to klwworldnews.com to get signed up. If you're not signed up, it's easy to do. Also, if you just want to get notified, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/KLW News and get hooked up there so you get notified anytime we go live. Thanks for being here. We'll see you the next time.
That's all, folks.